Hello and welcome to News 9 Facebook Live with me, Adarsh Vepachedu. Now, we all know the aftermath of the Galwan clash between India and China. The Indian government to date has banned about 175 Chinese applications. We continue to mount the digital attack while soldiers are doing all they can to keep the Chinese at bay. In the latest, India could potentially ban China's Huawei technologies and ZTE from rolling out its 5G telecom network right here in India. And the concern obviously is that China-made technology and telecom equipment would be amenable to the country snooping on India. So with the well-established and advanced player in 5G, Huawei, almost out of the fray, and with the pandemic too taking its toll on development plans, when could we see a 5G rollout? Who will Indian telcos partner with? To try and understand as to how the 5G picture is going to pan out here in the country, we have with us Jayant Kolla, founder of Convergence Catalyst, a telecom and internet technologies consultancy based out of Bengaluru. Many thanks, sir, for speaking to us. My first question, when do you see 5G rolling out in India? And who do you think will partner with Indian telecom operators for the launch of 5G with India? Not very interested in Huawei at this point in time.
Last year in 2019, we at Convergence Catalyst had done an in-depth research on the readiness and the launch timelines of 5G in India. And back then, basis the spectrum availability, spectrum auction, the budget required, and the P&L statements of different operators, it looked like 5G would not be launched in India anytime before 2022.
Okay.
But then again, in 2020, the entire COVID situation has sort of expedited the 5G rollout and the urgency for 5G rollout all across the world. We're seeing this, around the world in US and Europe as well. And, India and Indian operators also look like they're going to be expediting this timeline. So we would expect some form of 5G rollout, at least the first phase to be to be available, to be there in the second half of 2021, towards towards the end of 2021. And apart from Huawei and ZTE, the Chinese players, there are North American and European players such as Alcatel-Lucent, Nokia, Ericsson, which offer 5G
Okay.
equipment, and who could partner with Indian telecom operators. And among them, Nokia and Ericsson, are the prime options and the partners for Indian telcos, apart from Huawei and ZTE. Uh,
Right. So we seem to have options right there. But Mr. Jain, how big a blow is it for the Indian consumer on ground when it comes to keeping Huawei out of the fray? While Huawei brings to the table plenty of advanced features, it is a close partner of the Chinese government. And as you know, India has banned 175 Chinese applications for security reasons. So how do you see this whole matter panning out?
So if you look at the evolution of various mobile wireless technologies, historically, uh, 2G was led by Europe, the adoption and rollout. 3G was led by Japan and South Korea, and 4G by US. Verizon and AT&T were the first, one of the first operators in the world, to lead 4G, to adopt 4G and lead the global growth of 4G adoption. Similarly, when it comes to 5G,
Okay.
China is at the forefront, and
Right.
the Chinese telecom equipment manufacturers, especially Huawei and ZTE, their features, their functionality, their research, their innovation in the 5G space, and the Chinese telecom operators as well, China Mobile, China Telecom, their readiness and the market readiness also to launch is has been very advanced. So
Right.
that way, Huawei's 5G solutions are up there with the best in the world, if not the best, right? So, and how would this, the ban on Huawei and ZTE and other Chinese players impact Indian consumer?
Yes.
Apart from being extremely feature rich and functionality rich, the Chinese telecom equipment solutions are also one of the most cheapest for Indian telecom operators, right? And deploying Chinese telecom equipment was was lesser of a capex affordability issue for Indian telecom operators, and that by extension resulted in cheaper mobile data and mobile services for the Indian consumer. If you look at it, both in terms of voice and data, Indian mobile consumers, the rates in India are some of the cheapest, and that is supremely beneficial for the average consumer in India, right? So by banning the Chinese equipment, the government might have given no other option for the Indian telecom operators but to go for
Right.
costlier solutions of European players such as Nokia and Ericsson, and that will have an further impact in terms of 5G services tariffs and costing to the
Okay.
Indian mobile consumer when it comes to 5G services.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean the big impact that we would see for the Indian consumer would be actually in the tariffs and the price of 5G services upon launch by banning the Chinese equipment players.
Okay.
Apart from some of the advanced features that the Indian telecom operators might miss.
Right, right. Mr. Jain, Nokia has said, on the other hand, that there is no need for Indian telcos to test 5G technology with other countries having done it already. What is your view on this, and how viable would launching 5G in an Indian setup be without actually testing it?
Nokia's suggestion or recommendation about launching 5G technology, 5G solutions in India without testing is not a great one. I
Okay.
mean, the company might have suggested that purely basis from from the point of view of their solution readiness, their technology readiness. If they would have tested it successfully in other countries, then the technology and the solutions would work. But that still doesn't take away the fact that the field testing needs to be done. The Indian uh, landscape when it comes to mobile services rollout and network rollout is very different from other countries in
Indeed.
terms of our density, in terms of the number of subscribers per cell site. All these are very very different as compared to other countries and global scenario. So there is no way that Indian telecom operators would launch 5G solutions or should be launching 5G solutions without testing. So, the Nokia as a company might have suggested that in terms of expediting the timeline for rollout, but removing testing from the entire process is not an ideal situation,
Okay.
and skipping 5G testing in India, especially the field testing, is definitely not advisable, and the Indian telcos should not be, and in my mind, would not be doing that.
Now, Mr. Jain, another big question that I have is whether we can be Atmanirbhar when it comes to 5G technology. In line with that, if India were to consider indigenous development of 5G, do we have the required budget, expertise, and more importantly, infrastructure? Now, Jio has offered an indigenous 5G solution. Do you see it being a potential game changer going forward?
Indigenous 5G technology and solution development is a very ambitious goal for Indian players, be it telcos or equipment makers. First of all, the 5G skill sets and expertise is very scarce around the world,
Okay.
and to develop in India, it requires a lot of expert skill sets, which as a country we do not have at scale.
Okay.
A company like Geo can still afford to do that in terms of bringing in expats from other countries, experts from other countries, and having them here and getting them to develop the solution. But then again, when a company like Reliance Jio says that it's going to develop a 5G solution, in which part of 5G network equipment, or which part of solution are they looking to develop? Is it a 5G chipset that will go into devices, or is it a radio access network, or which element or which part of the solution? So that is not very clear.
Okay.
An Indian player developing 5G solution, even if it's for India market, is a pretty ambitious goal, but it cannot be done in a short term. And second thing is, developing 5G solution, needs the company to get into a telecom equipment manufacturing industry and solutions industry, which we don't have an Indian player who does that at scale, and you need to have global scale of economies to essentially to be a successful player in that. So Reliance has announced that they would go for indigenous 5G solution development, but the plans are not very clear, and it's not an easy task considering how globally 5G is in extremely nascent stage, and literally in the research stages even of development. There is very scarce talent availability, hardly any talent availability in India, and even the scale of economies only for the Indian market will not work out. And if an Indian company needs to play at a global level, then it's a first of a kind for an Indian company, because we don't have yet an Indian telecom equipment manufacturer that has successfully evolved as a global player, and the scale of economies won't work out for the solutions.
Okay.
So it's an interesting idea, a very ambitious one, but executing that would not be that easy. And if any Indian company does that, then more power to them.
Well, there you have it. Indigenous 5G, not a very real possibility right there, is what Mr. Jayant Kola says. Many thanks, Mr. Jayant, for joining us and for shedding light on what the roadmap really looks like when it comes to 5G right here in the country. India has continued to look away from various Chinese applications, Chinese establishments and companies, and in line with that, we're not very interested in teaming up with Huawei to get 5G tech right here in the country. So it remains to be seen as to which way India will look when it comes to ensuring 5G in the country, and also as to when it will happen. That is another big question that we need an answer for. If you've liked the information that I've shared with you in this brief interactive session, do not forget to like, share and subscribe to News 9 on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. Many thanks for joining us.